world's going to end in 2030. So we have a teenager named Greta Thunberg talking to us about this stuff. And this is a literal child. You know nothing about the world. You can't be telling adults what things are. Like, you just don't know anything yet. What's up, everybody? Thank you for attending. Today, I'm going to be talking about fluid intelligence, how that pertains to problem solving, adapting to change, and what meditation can do to make you more fluidly intelligent. So there was a lady named Karen Arnold from Boston University who did a study on valedictorians and salutatorians. She studied 81 of these folks when they were postgraduates to see how the rest of their life went. Now, naturally, as you would expect, 95% of them graduated with around a 3.6 GPA on average. Then 60% of them went on to get graduate degrees, and beyond that, 40% of them went on to get careers in their chosen field, whether that be law, academia, medicine, things like that. Now, she looked at how many of them really changed the world, really changed the field that they were in, kind of reinvented the wheel, or were a massive leader in some way, shape, or form, and she found that none of them did that. So these are all very high IQ in people, but what they have is crystallized intelligence. So it's very rigid and it's firm in that sense instead of fluid intelligence. So because of that, they became very good employees, top-level employees, very good at doing what they are told, but they don't know how to think outside of the cubicle. So with that, Karen Arnold said that valedictorians are not likely to shake up the system. They typically integrate into the system well and perpetuate it further. So I would say one of the largest things that holds people that have crystallized intelligence back is their rule following ability. So they're very rules are there for a reason. That's why we follow the rules. And then there's the opposite side of the camp that is rules are there to be broken. That's why we break the rules. So creative people are the ones that break the rules. Folks with that high fluid intelligence don't, they look at things and they say, well, this could be better. And so they will break the rules. They'll lose their jobs, whatever it is, start a new company to mold that new wheel and get out of what's currently there. But the person with crystallized intelligence doesn't even see that. They're just what's directly in front of them. They have the discipline to do what's directly in front of them over and over and over again. There is a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and 700 high net worth individuals were interviewed in the creation of this book, and their average GPA was 2.9 when they graduated high school. Naturally, SAT scores, class ranking, and overall grade performance are not determiners of long-term success. At least if you're wanting high-level success. If you want normal, kind of average success, you make $300K a year maybe, and that's even top-level doctors at that point. You make that kind of money, that's okay, fair enough. Do your studies, get your work done. But if you want to be making $1 million or more a year, you have to be able to create something new. You don't just do your job. There's not really many jobs out there that are paying people $1 million a year. Even if they are paying people $1 million a year, you're getting taxed at 50% of that. So you're 6 months out of your year is given to the government, your Lord and Savior, Uncle Sam. Bruce Lee touched on this. He said to be like water. He essentially said, when you pour water in a cup, it becomes the cup. When you pour water in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Be like water. So that's that adaptability to change, that fluid intelligence, openness to new experiences and new ideas as well. So if you can really imagine yourself as being like water, and it will it will give you a little peace in life when maybe you're rejecting something in your mind. Someone gave you a new idea or a new experience in some way, shape, or form, and you're rejecting it in your mind. And you can be more open to it by just saying, well, let me be like water. Maybe you go into a building or a room or a party or something where you know it's not your crowd of people, things like that. It's not my crowd, things like that. You can still go in there and learn things and adapt to the environment. That's that fluid intelligence. The person with crystallized intelligence is going to sit in the corner with their arms crossed, pouting like, yeah, these aren't really my people. Adaptability and resourcefulness are very important to you if you're trying to create something new in your life, whatever it is. Maybe you're just trying to get healthy and you've gone to the doctors, they've given you everything, and you need to somehow figure it out because what they're doing doesn't work. And so you start fasting, and you fast every 2 weeks, you fast for 3 days. 95% of the people in your life are going to tell you that you're crazy. They're going to tell you that you're insane. But you can truly heal yourself by doing something like this. It's just stepping outside of that box and having the belief that it can happen. Here we have our characteristics of high fluid intelligence. Number 1 is going to be cognitive flexibility. What does this mean? So the folks with high crystallized intelligence, you'll see a lot of times they'll have kind of a know-it-all mentality. And that's that, like, oh, I've learned this, I've learned that, so now I know everything. It's very rigid. Cognitive flexibility, Socrates once said, I know one thing, that I know nothing. So that's cognitive flexibility in and of itself. If you have a humility about yourself and understand that you don't know everything, and every moment in your life is an opportunity to learn something new, that's your cognitive flexibility being trained and coming out more. So the second step is recognizing change early. So these are people that really shake up systems and reinvent the wheels. They're almost like the Matrix, where they can bend time. They experience change very slowly because they saw it ahead of time. And these are the folks that start new fields to make money and really get ahead of the game because they saw things very early. Now, I've touched on this in a different video about intuition and how humans have been shown that they can sense the future. So this can come through intuition. Meditation will train your intuition through your ventromedial prefrontal cortex. It lights up more activity there. That's where your intuition sits in your brain. So if we can become more intuitive, we naturally train that fluid intelligence as well by recognizing that change early. It takes intuition to see something in the future and say, I believe it's going to go this way, and to trust that. Number 3 is being light on their feet. That's a very good metaphor. These people can adapt to the change very easily. They go into, imagine there's a party and there's all these different rooms that you go into, and each room is different personalities of people. So there's 20 people in each room, and every single room has different kinds of personalities. They can go in there and adapt to each and every room, and folks will like them and appreciate their presence in all these different rooms because they're light on their feet. They're able to adapt, they're able to change. So an obstacle gets put in front of them and they go over, under, around, or through the obstacle, or they just take a completely different path. They can move quickly as they need to instead of being rigid and saying, no, this is the solution, I'm going to do it this way. They always have backup plans as well. So that, again, that's that some people will get stuck on one solution and say, no, I have to do it this way. There's no other way. It must be done this way. And that willpower and determination is admirable, but they can slow themselves down by spinning their tires through the mud the whole way, when the cognitively flexible person who has high fluid intelligence will just back their vehicle out and take a different path and get the job finished. Now the job is done, while the other person is, yeah, it's admirable, but we're all standing on the sidelines because we finished already and we're watching you just spin your tires throwing up mud and rocks behind you, and you're hardly making any progress. Now, the fifth one is that these folks with high fluid intelligence are masters of uncertainty. Life is going to bring uncertainty into you. There's going to be wrenches thrown in your tire all the time. So this goes into that intuition again. Check that video out. When things are uncertain in front of you and you don't know where to go, you have to trust something deeper than yourself or a higher intelligence to almost make that decision for you. And these folks that have that fluid intelligence understand that they don't know everything, just like Socrates said, so they can trust that and learn to make the right decisions through that thinking. Continuing on, we have a growth mindset. So this is everything happens for you, not to you. When an obstacle is placed in front of you, it's a challenge to overcome that will make you better instead of something blocking you towards your goals. This is a pretty simple mindset to adopt, but it's just a reframing that needs to happen within your mind. These folks are also not afraid to fail. This is huge. Most people are so afraid of criticism. We need social proof and social acceptance in our lives that people don't take steps forward in their personal lives because they're so concerned of what everyone else thinks of them. Other people's opinions, which folks are always going to have opinions. You're going to meet millions of people throughout your life. And if you constantly spend your time worried about that, which most people do, you will destroy yourself by not taking action and being afraid of failure. If you're unafraid of that failure, you understand through that growth mindset that failure is just a part of it. You have to go out and do something and fail. If you're playing football, you have to get on the field, get cracked, get knocked down, get back up, and go again and learn, well, why did I get hit like that? Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Or you have to go out and drop the pass. Why did I drop the pass? I didn't have sticky enough gloves on. Whatever it is, you have to be able to go out and be unafraid of failing, and even if it happens in front of other people and it's embarrassing, you will grow from that. Touching on the failure, these folks will fall forward. So every time they fail, it is that thing that they learn from and they take it with them as a lesson. Failure is almost a good thing for you. Like, I get excited when I'm going into something new in my life and I kind of just go in after it. Like, okay, I've done my planning and everything. Now let me just start doing it and I'll figure everything out along the way. That's happened with this YouTube channel. I have some videos that get better views than others because I've failed, I've learned, okay, it's embarrassing. I got 5 views on a video. Whatever, the video sucked. You deserved 5 views. So these people always fall forward. And that's part of that growth mindset and understanding. Anytime you fail, anytime you stumble, just keep going forward. This was meant to happen, and it's happening for you. And the final one, because of these 8 prior ones, the 9th one is that they are leaders, not followers. So because these people have a growth mindset, they're always full of hope, and folks love hope. Hope is something to hold on to for the future, and a lot of people need hope nowadays because we're told by social media and all this stuff that there's these terrible things. They'll talk to you about global warming, which they changed from global warming to climate change, and they'll talk to you about climate change now and say, oh, the world's going to end in 2030, so we have a teenager named Greta Thunberg talking to us about this stuff. And this is a literal child. You know nothing about the world. You can't be telling adults what things are. Like, you just don't know anything yet. But what is she doing? She is garnering hope in people that are afraid of global warming. Now, that fear is something, again, that we touched on with people that have high fluid intelligence, is not being afraid to fail. Most people have a lot of fear. And if you have to get rid of that fear, Napoleon Hill said in his book, Outwitting the Devil, that fear is the devil's number one trick to trap people and make them failures within their own minds. He was saying if the devil was the devil in your mind, you could see it as a real devil, like God and the devil fighting each other, or you could view it just as the devil in your mind. He straight up said, whatever works best for you, view it that way. So that fear will hold us back, and we don't want to have that fear. And fearless people are the ones that are leaders, because all the followers are living in that fear, following the fearless person. This would be the same thing as when in the Old Testament, when the Israelites left Egypt, they followed Moses. Moses was the man without fear that said, yeah, God told me this. Let's go ahead and leave Egypt because they're oppressing us, and we'll figure it out along the way. And they followed Moses with that. Moses was unafraid. So these are things we have to do when we meditate to take our personal power back, because a lot of it has been taken away from us. Especially if you're a young person, you've had a phone screen in front of you your whole life. The phone is giving you scenarios that are negative scenarios. They're blasting you with that all over the place. Every time you get on your phone, every time you get on your TV or your laptop, or you go talk to other people, because they're all surrounded by the phones, and now they're talking to you about it, and it's influencing everything terribly. So they give you this terrible situation, and then they tell you how to think or feel about it instead of you forming your own opinion. And this is taking your personal power away from you. It's making you more of a follower instead of a leader. And losing that personal power, it ruins you. But this is forming your own opinion with things and staying away from it. Everyone will tell you how to feel about something because we're all interconnected, and the phones are making us more interconnected. So we have to strengthen within ourselves and how we think and feel about things. That's what meditation can do for us. You can see something and form your own opinion instead of getting emotionally involved and taking the opinion that someone else told you. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have and you found value in it, hit that like button. Comment what you want me to speak about in the future. My email will be written in the description below, so you can email me if you'd like to speak about this further. Other than that, thank you for being here.